It's coming back to me. The beginning of it all. It began when we moved into the new house. I must have been around 4 or 5, so young and unaware. That house was stunning, Mom. Remember how I'd dart from room to room? Your laughter still echoes when you recall those moments. We were all so joyful back then. The new house felt enormous, far larger than our old place with its 2 floors. On the main floor, there was the living room and 3 bedrooms, Judy's, Dad's, yours, and mine, tucked away at the end of the hallway. But do you recall what I used to say about the basement? I'd always warn you not to venture down there. You'd dismiss my concerns, brushing them aside. I doubt you even remember me mentioning it. Yet, it's etched in my memory. I can't shake it off. It began with my solo trips downstairs. Whenever I ventured down there, I'd catch sight of movement. Tiny, shadowy figures. They'd flit around, in corners, atop the TV cabinet, down the hallway, even in the laundry room, always at the edge of my vision. It made me rush into the dimly lit room and scramble back upstairs. I recall Judy once remarking, "Oh, Sophia's frightened again." Mom, those entities terrified me. I was utterly scared. Whenever you sent me down into that darkness on my own, I felt like my life was at risk. I never knew what might happen down there. It reached a point where I couldn't move without switching on a light. Every room had to be lit before I dared enter, followed by a panicked sprint back upstairs. But I was also desperate to conceal my fear from everyone. I did my best to hide it, Mom. That was until witnessing wasn't the most dreadful part anymore. Not long after I began seeing them, I started hearing whispers, mocking, snickering voices, moving objects around in the basement. Those faint noises meant nothing to you and the rest of the family. You turned a blind eye to the sounds, shut your ears to the unknown residing in our home. I recall a specific incident. You found a handkerchief placed on your bed. You brushed it off, and everyone followed suit, laughing it off as a prank. That handkerchief didn't belong to any of us. It was just there, almost like a warning. Yet everyone thanked these entities for their generous gift, turning it into a joke. Mom, why didn't any of you heed my warnings? By the time I turned 8, the voices became a relentless presence in our home. I could discern every word they uttered. Those beings, whom I dubbed the Whisperers, discussed everything, new ways to cause trouble, how entertained they were by us, and even strategies to harm the family inhabiting their space. I had learned from your example to push these thoughts aside and pretend they weren't there, but it grew increasingly challenging. I recall one night lying in bed when I heard the door creak open. I hadn't been sleeping well, so every small noise jolted me awake at night. However, the Whisperers never handled objects so clumsily. They knew I was alert, and they understood the most effective way to scare me. There were loud sounds from the kitchen, and to shield myself, I pulled the blankets over my head. I felt an urge to cry out for you, like a scared child, Mom. But I hesitated, not wanting to put you in danger. A faint yelp echoed from the kitchen, quiet enough not to disturb anyone else. I know if you ever come across this, Mom, you'll scold me for my recklessness, but I couldn't resist investigating what lurked there, threatening my family. The hallway seemed chillingly cold on that sweltering summer night. Even with the light already on, my journey to the kitchen remained shrouded in terror. Each step I took shattered the silence, my attempt at stealth failing. I was petrified, sweat clinging my clothes to my skin. Mom, I don't want to alarm you by detailing what I saw in the kitchen, but I'll try to describe it as best as I can. There was a small creature, around 2 feet tall, standing before me. It was entirely black with small, piercing yellow eyes. This is the only way I can paint its image for you, Mom. Its scent was a mix of vegetable oil and that tar-like material used for road cracks. It emitted a sound, like crackling fire combined with constant murmuring whispers. That creature instilled fear in me, Mom. It embodied pure terror. It felt like it drove a stake right into my soul, leaving me cold and writhing in true darkness. As I observed this entity, it locked eyes with me and revealed its mouth, initially invisible. Its mouth was a cavity filled with razor-sharp teeth, and it chuckled as I gasped in sheer horror at the sight. Just as swiftly as it opened, the creature's mouth closed and it shifted its gaze to its right. I hadn't noticed her, Mom. I hadn't noticed Dino. Dino, our beloved hound, lay directly in the center of the kitchen beneath the countertop. A large butcher knife had been delicately placed between two of her ribs. Dino whimpered one last time as she drew her final breath, succumbing to a painful demise. I was lost, Mom, utterly overwhelmed and powerless over my own body. I wept. "No," I screamed, while tears streamed down my face. I was clueless, Mom, unsure of what to do next. I couldn't control it. Then I heard them again, from down the hallway. Judy's door and yours were ajar. Oh God, Mom, I was petrified. Without a second thought, I rushed into Judy's room. Judy was gone, Mom. I found her. But I know you wouldn't want the gruesome details of how it happened to your daughter. Let's just agree she never stood a chance. There was no time for mourning. I needed to check on Dad. Oddly, the light in your room was on, so I didn't have to venture far to witness Dad lying on the ground in a distressing manner. 2 butter knives were embedded in his neck, Mom. I can't fathom how it happened, but you weren't there in the room. You were missing. Why weren't you in your room? Did you hear the footsteps approaching? Did you truly believe that fleeing to the basement was the best course of action? I had an immediate sense, Mom, that you were downstairs, trying to flee the malevolence that lingered upstairs. I dashed down the stairs, hoping to reach you before the whisperers did. There you were in the family room, Mom, the lights off. I found you facing the TV, with wounds on your head and legs, blood seeping out. When you noticed me, you let out a piercing scream. It bewildered me. Then I saw them. The whisperers had gotten to you before I could, and they were chanting, "Kill her, kill her. We must kill her. We must kill her. Kill her, kill her." Those were their chants directed at me, Mom. They urged me to end your life. They insisted that you had to die, and that's when I glanced at my hands. They were soaked in blood, Mom. Blood tainted my fresh nightgown. It dripped down my arms. I was clutching a knife from the kitchen. When I raised my eyes, the whisperers had vanished, leaving just you and me. Switching on the light, I smiled. You screamed once more. I moved toward you, lifting the knife in my hand. I warned you never to enter the basement, Mom. Why didn't you heed my words?